Well, hey everyone, just catching everybody up. I'm back from my hiatus with the National Guard, and I figured I'd catch everybody up on the clothing of the boat, which I'd like to preface this by saying the next boats I do will not be plywood and covered in fabric. They'll be planked because this stuff has turned into a real pain in the butt. So with that being said, I'll kind of take you into what's happened. So we covered the keel and the skeg, but we ran out of epoxy to do the middle area. So I had to cut and get everything ready to receive more. Oh, my beer's sliding. To receive more cloth and epoxy, which is like this. So I did a little bit of that, and so I've already done that on the other side of the boat, and I've actually applied these strips of fabric that I dunked in epoxy and placed on the hull, a lot like this over here, that I've pre-done over here anyways, and I've done it over here. And this is what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like something out of a Freddy Krueger movie. I know. But I'm not too forlorn about it because it is relatively smooth, which means I can sand it and apply a little bit more fairing epoxy to some of these seams and stuff like that. And this ridge here, which was a lot worse today until I applied this epoxy over it. So there's that going on. But this side, for the most part, has been done, at least with the preliminary fairing stuff, putting the preliminary fairing epoxy on it, on the seams, the low areas, or the real bad seam areas, which is like right up here. And then, of course, like right here. So we follow that, and then I stopped because I ran out of epoxy about right here. So I have to finish this all the way aft, filling these seams real good so they fair out real nice, and any low areas and that kind of stuff. So I got to do that. Obviously, I have to do the other side, and then I have to do the transom area here, which still needs fabric on it, which I have plenty of fabric. I'm not worried about that. But this side needs to be done a lot like this side. And then, of course, the fairing epoxy applied and faired out to where the seams meld into the hull, and it's, for the most part, seamless. I'm not too terribly worried about getting it too terribly seamless, because as long as it won't cause many obstructions to water flow, I'm not going to be all that obsessed with it, because this isn't going to be seen. This is going to be underwater. So, there's that. But it is a bit of a bear. I'm not going to lie. This stuff has turned into being a real pain in the butt, even though I'm sure it is immensely strong and immensely waterproof. So, but I just don't like messing with all the goo. Maybe that's just me. I'm sure a lot of people will find using plywood and this cloth a lot more conducive to them. And that's fine. That's, hey, more power to them. It's just, it's handling way too much goo and handling fabric and sticky stuff, and I'm just not much about that. On that note, this is my first attempt. So maybe it could be that I'm just very new at this and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. And I'm perfectly willing to concede that all day long. But it still doesn't change the fact that I just don't like dealing with a lot of sticky goo. So, the next big boat I do, or the next boat I do, will probably be planked, so I don't have to deal with this. But there's that. Yeah, I mean, this forward part of the hull is really going to take a lot of fairing compound to get that kind of faired back out. So I'm not looking forward to that either. But it's just part of it. Unfortunately, I've never done this before, and this is part of that learning curve. So this is hopefully some of the stuff I can give to you guys and say, hey, you know what I mean, learn from my mistakes. Don't duplicate the same mistakes that I made. So if I had to do it over again, I can tell you I would start with the keel and the center line and put a strip of fabric all the way down, and then go from there and work out. Once that was dry, and I cleaned those edges up, I would work out from there along the hull. And I think that would have probably been the way to go. But, like I said, this was a lot of trial and error. So, that's where we're at. I'm going to continue pressing on, getting the other side done, getting this side completely wetted out and like a lot like this side, and then faired out so I can, so we can move on to paint. And I never thought I would say this, and this was a big surprise to my wife, saying I am looking forward to painting after dealing with this cloth and epoxy crap. So there you have it. Well, that's all there is to it for now, guys, and I hope this was as informative for you as it surely was me. So I will catch you guys next time.